Remember those adrenaline-fueled afternoons, bolting through the front door just to drop your backpack and dive straight onto the couch? The TV flickered to life, and suddenly you were swept away. These shows weren't just background noise, they were your after-school crew. The heroes, the laughs, and the drama. It was like hanging out with old friends who knew exactly what you needed after a long day of school. They didn't just entertain us, they shaped our afternoons and, let's be honest, a bit of who we are today. So grab a snack, settle in, and let's relive those epic 90s afternoons when TV was pure gold. Kicking off the list at number 1, we have Rugrats. If you grew up in the 90s, you probably wondered what life looked like from a baby's perspective. And this show delivered that curiosity with a side of pure adventure. Tommy Pickles and his crew, Chucky, Phil, Lil, and Angelica, took us on epic quests that somehow started in the playpen and ended in full-blown expeditions across the backyard. Who knew a screwdriver in a diaper could unlock so many adventures? And who could forget the Reptar bar? Admit it, you wanted to taste one just to see if it really did turn your tongue green. The show's quirky animation style and innocent charm reminded us that everyday life could be magical if you looked at it through the right eyes. Rugrats became a treasured part of our childhood television lineup as we watched these tiny ones go on wild adventures, reminding us of the innocence and fun that came with being a kid. But if babies exploring the world wasn't enough, the after-school lineup was just getting started. What if you threw a little magic into the mix? Who could forget the magical blunders of Sabrina Spellman? Sabrina the Teenage Witch was more than just a show. It was a rite of passage. After school, what better way to unwind than watching Sabrina Spellman juggle school drama with magical mishaps, like turning her crush into a pineapple or zapping herself into another dimension? Her quirky aunts, Hilda and Zelda, were comedic gold, while Salem, the snarky talking cat, delivered sharp one-liners that cut through Sabrina's chaos. Set in the weird town of Westbridge, the show gave us a magical spin on teenage struggles. Homework deadlines? Try dealing with a spell that might vaporize your teacher. Crushes? Imagine a love spell that goes hilariously wrong. Sabrina taught us accountability, embracing who you are and leaning on family no matter how weird they were. Let's not forget those guest stars and crossovers that made us feel like we were in on an exclusive joke. Whether laughing at Sabrina's magical fails or wishing for our own spellbook, the show is a nostalgic reminder that even when life feels chaotic, a little humor and maybe a sassy talking cat goes a long way. Let's move on to another show that we loved watching after school. The show Hey Arnold introduced us to the colorful life of Arnold, the football-mad and headed fourth grader who lived in a bustling urban neighborhood full of quirky neighbors and his grandfather's distinctive boarding house. Whether solving neighborhood mysteries or getting dragged into crazy adventures by his best bud Gerald, Arnold's world was a mix of everyday struggles and offbeat humor. With his constant optimism and compassion, Arnold was the kind of friend we all wanted to be. It wasn't just about football or school. It was about facing life's challenges with friends by your side, addressing serious subjects with compassion while still making us laugh. Not to mention the memorable theme song. If you didn't jam out to that intro every day, were you even watching? Each episode felt like a new adventure, even if it was just dealing with a weird neighbor. Hey Arnold was a masterclass in friendship, loyalty, and rolling with life's punches. But another one we all loved. Who doesn't remember Boy Meets World? If you wanted a show that grew up right alongside you, Boy Meets World was it. We followed Corey Matthews, his troublemaking best friend Sean, and his wise and sometimes confusing love interest Topanga through every stage of growing up. Whether it was middle school awkwardness, high school heartbreak, or college chaos, this show nailed it all. And we can't forget Eric Matthews with his endless ridiculous antics, or Mr. Feeney, who somehow managed to be both terrifying and lovable. His life lessons and wisdom weren't just for Corey and the gang. They stuck with us too. Do good, he'd say, reminding us to be gentle, work hard, and never give up learning. Next up on the list, and for those of us who enjoyed a good laugh following a tough day at school, Animaniacs was the ideal solution. This variety show-style cartoon centered around the Warner siblings, Yakko, Wakko, and Dot, who resided in the Warner Brothers water tower and caused hilarious chaos no matter where they headed. Both children and adults found the show entertaining due to its quick-witted jokes and pop culture mimicry. Every episode featured a fascinating blend of chaos and inventiveness, from the amusing Wheel of Morality bits to the unforgettable Yakko's World song. Characters in the supporting cast were equally noteworthy. Who could forget the cunning lab mice with plots to take over the world, Pinky and the Brain, or the witty Slappy Squirrel? With each character contributing their own distinct style, it was full of comic genius and a favorite we loved coming home to. Another show which filled our afternoons with fun was Doug. Doug, which was the classic story of an average youngster with a remarkable imagination, is coming in on the list at number 6, which struck a chord with those of us who liked daydreaming. The show featured Doug, his dog Porkchop, and his diverse circle of friends as they experienced the highs and lows of life in Bluffington. Doug had a lively imagination, which was one of his most charming qualities. His thoughts frequently resulted in amusing and entertaining adventures, whether he was seeing himself as Quailman, a superhero, or copping it for his crush on Patty Mayonnaise. And who could overlook Doug's favorite band, The Beats, and their charming songs? With its likable plots and unique characters like Doug's artsy best buddy Skeeter and the bully Roger Klotz, Doug perfectly depicted the experience of evolving and discovering oneself. But if Doug was the kid who daydreamed, our next favorite was the girl who told it like it was. Before there were vlogs and digital influencers, there was Clarissa Darling, a show that allowed us to get an intimate look at the life of an innovative, crazy youngster who was always talking. Clarissa's distinctive style and phrases made her the perfect example of how to express oneself. Her room was a masterpiece of 90s decor, and her outfits, pure iconic chaos. Clarissa spoke candidly to us in every episode, offering her opinions on everything from handling irritating siblings to resolving school conflicts and crushes. Whether she was formulating a new plan or simply expressing her most recent ideas, Clarissa gave us the impression that we were right there with her, going through the messy yet amazing process of growing up. But if you were in the mood for some thrills and chills after school, the next show sent shivers down your spine. On chilly winter afternoons, Goosebumps was the ideal show that made you want to sleep with the lights on. Based on the well-known book series by R.L. Stine, the show Goosebumps vividly portrayed all of the terrifying stories that kept us awake all night. With its use of living dummies and creepy masks, the show perfectly expressed the curiosity and fears of the children. We were drawn in by each episode's distinct, spooky idea, which made us shiver, jump, and occasionally even laugh. And who could overlook the famous dog with brightly colored eyes, as well as the creepy theme music? The show was successful because it combined relatable characters with supernatural aspects. Recall the thrill and anxiety we felt as we wondered what the next story would reveal. It was spooky, thrilling, and just scary enough to make us want to keep watching. But after all that terror, we needed something lighthearted and fun. Good thing recess was just around the corner. For a lot of us, recess was the peak of excitement and independence in childhood. This cartoon series transported us to 3rd Street Elementary's play area, where a varied group of friends skillfully and amiably handled the challenging social environment of playtime. A combination of humor, life lessons, and the basic pleasures of childhood were featured in every episode. Whether it was fleeing out of the grasp of Miss Finster or deceiving the king of the playground, TJ and his buddies proved to us that the most enjoyable part of the school was usually found in the playground during break time. Beyond merely being a cartoon show, it was a celebration of childhood innocence and fun. serving as a reminder to all of the delight that could be found in those priceless 15-minute breaks. And if you remember this, surely you remember Saved by the Bell, the new class? Remember how this show introduced a new class of youngsters while being closely monitored by Principal Belding and his helper Screech. With events that were all too familiar, we witnessed a new generation deal with the highs and lows of high school life. Every character contributed something different, whether it was Tommy D's physical ability, Maria's fiery persona, or Lindsay's management. In addition, the new class featured a number of heartwarming and hilarious teachings, as well as unforgettable pranks. It was more than merely a show. It served as a nostalgic reminder of the struggles and victories of our adolescence. Now, there's more to remembering these series than just the plots or characters. It's about nostalgia, the carefree days when our main concern was getting home in time to watch the next episode of our favorite TV programs. These shows weren't just after-school entertainment, they were a part of us. They taught us, comforted us, and gave us memories that still make us smile. Whether it was the wild adventures of Rugrats, the magical mishaps of Sabrina, or the thrills of Goosebumps, these shows shaped our childhoods. Which of these shows did you race home to watch? Share your favorites in the comments below. We'll see you soon.